So I have a lot of hours in Stardew Valley, like a lot. Being a huge fan of both Stardew Valley and Pokemon, I thought it might be a fun idea to come up with teams of Pokemon for all of the bachelors and bachelorettes that you can romance in Stardew Valley. These teams probably aren't going to be balanced or like good teams, but these are just Pokemon that I could see these characters using. Like, I know if Pokemon was real, I wouldn't really go for like a balanced team. I'd want ones that like fit my personality, so that's more so what we're doing here. We're gonna start things off with Sebastian because like who hasn't romanced Sebastian? The first Pokemon that I put on Sebastian's team was Politoed because when you marry Sebastian, he gets a little terrarium with a frog, and honestly Politoed just seemed more fitting than the other frog Pokemon. I went with Politoed because Politoed's a Gen 2 Pokemon and all the other frogs are kind of like later generations, so I wanted to give him something that was like more original, like a hipster choice, and I went with Politoed instead of like Froakie or Toxicroak or whatever. The next Pokemon on his team is going to be Porygon because he actually works, I believe, as like a programmer or a coder. I can't remember exactly what they said about him, but he works with computers all day, so I thought that Porygon would be an excellent fit to his team. Next up, we got Emolga for obvious reasons. It has emo in the name, and Sebastian is our emo king. I also gave him a Drizzile because Drizzile has like the emo bangs, so I thought that that was like kind of funny. Sebastian also really enjoys fantasy games, which is why I gave him an Excavalier because Excavalier is like a knight Pokemon, and I thought it was just really fitting. And then of course our emo king gets Umbreon because of course he does. Next up we have Alex. Alex is the current bachelor that I'm married to in like my ongoing file of Stardew Valley, and he's just such a sweet little bean. For his team, I'm gonna give him a Vanillite because during the summer season, he does work at the ice cream cart. I'm also gonna give him a Herdier because he has a dog, and he's like the only one to have a dog in this game, which I think is kind of weird. I mean, unless you pick dog, but like I always pick a cat, so it's a little weird. I also gave him a Scorbunny and a Hitmonchan because both of those Pokemon are themed after sports, and he's like very into sports, so I thought that they would be fitting for his team. I also gave him a Pylosand because he does express how much he loves the beach, and like at first I was gonna give that to Elliott because Elliott lives on the beach, but I hate Elliott and I wanted it to be on Alex's team, so yeah, he got Pylosand. And then I also gave him a Cubone because his mom is dead. Sorry, but like, you know, she is. I didn't write it. Speaking of Elliott, he's the next bachelor that we're gonna talk about. I gave him like all of the like stuck-up looking Pokemon because that's just like his personality. So he has a Corviknight. I gave him that because he's like an author, and you know, Corviknight is kind of like a raven. I don't know if that like is canon, but you know, I gave him a Corviknight for that reason. A Milotic because you know, I mean, I think these are kind of self-explanatory. Milotic. We give him a Pyroar. A Licky because it's fucking ugly. I give him a Meowth because Meowth is like rich and like Elliott thinks he's rich. And a Sinistea because again, you know, just like that vibe, like that stuck up vibe. I just think that that's like a good team for him. They're all kind of like rich, stuck up Pokemon, and then Licky just because it's ugly. And I hate Elliott, sorry. Next up is Sam. I have never romanced Sam. He kind of like gives me little kid vibes, so I kind of stay away from him. But on his team, I gave him an Obstagoon, a Chatot, a Toxtricity, and a Rillaboom because he's in a band. And like I know Sebastian's in the same band as him, but like Sam is like really into it, so that's why I gave him those four so he can like have a band with his Pokemon. And then I also gave him an Elekid, just straight vibes, like he just reminds me of Elekid. And then I also gave him a Cacnea because one of his favorite gifts is the cactus fruit, so yeah, that's why I gave him a Cacnea as well. Harvey's team was like actually kind of fun to think about. At first I wanted to give him like Latios or Latias, but then I was like, I don't really want to give anybody legendaries. Oh, and by the way, the reason I wanted to give him that is because he like loves airplanes, but you know, I didn't want to give anybody legendaries, so I just didn't do that. I ended up giving him Drifblim for that reason and Togetic. And then I also gave him a Chansey and an Audino because Nurse Joy has those and Harvey is a doctor. I also gave Harvey a Klefki because like his house is always locked. and that annoys the shit out of me. So maybe if like he had a clef key, it would like open the door for me or something. I don't know. And then I also gave him a Rabambi because he likes jazz. The last bachelor on this list is Shane, and I give him a Fuecoco because he loves hot peppers. He's our hot pepper daddy. I also gave him a Torchic because he loves his chickens, a Slack Off because he's a deadbeat, like lazy guy, and then Scrafty just because of like vibes. I also gave him an Absol because he's just misunderstood. And Absol is misunderstood because they like warn people of danger, but like people think that they bring danger, so it's like, you know, they share that. And then I didn't give him a 6th Pokemon because just like his team, he is incomplete. Okay, now that we're done with the boys, we can get on to the ladies, and our first lady is my favorite lady, Haley. I love Haley. She can call me ugly as much as she wants. I know deep down she loves me. She's like a girly girl, so I gave her like very girly, rich looking, cutesy Pokemon. I gave her a Furfrou, a Vaporeon, a Floette, an Illumise, a Lopunny, and a Snubbull. And I feel like these are kind of like Elliott's, where they're like self-explanatory. Also, on the Stardew Valley wiki, all the boys have like full-on essays about their personalities, and the girls are like, she enjoys feminine things. She likes a crystal, and that's like it. So these were like a little bit harder than the boys. I mean, like, I do think that these teams are fitting, but like doing the research that wasn't just playing the game was like kind of hard because the wiki does not go very in depth with these ladies. But yeah, back to Haley. Yeah, I gave her these because she is just like a girly girl, and I think these are girly Pokemon, and I think that she looks cute with them. Illumise's got that little attitude that Haley's got, and I just think that she looks cute with this team. Alright, next up is Abigail, our goth queen. I gave her Espeon because, like, I don't know, she's friends with Sebastian, and like if he's gonna have Umbreon, she should probably have Espeon. And then I also gave her Miss Magius because like Miss Magius is witchy and she's kind of witchy. I gave her Gothitelle because she's goth and Gothitelle is goth. Which is the same reason I gave her Pumpkaboo and Braixen, because they're like witchy and goth Pokemon. And then I also gave her a Honedge because once you become like better friends with Abigail, you catch her sword fighting in the graveyard, or like practicing sword fighting. So I wanted to give her a sword Pokemon, and Honedge is like the only one, so she gets Honedge. For Leah, I wanted to go with like kind of cottagecore vibes because she has like a little cabin in the woods and like does art. Like, she's so cute. So I gave her a Smeargle to do art with, and then we also gave her a Phantump because she loves driftwood. I gave her an Inkay to like give her ink to do more art with, a Leafeon because I just thought it was like very fitting to her vibes, along with a Teddy Ursa because I just thought, you know, it kind of fit her vibes, and an Oddish because she's like a little plant girl, you know, like all of us are. I could just see Leah sitting in her log cabin in the woods doing art with this team. I just think it's fitting for her. All right, next up we have Emily, and I don't really like Emily. I'm gonna be real here. I love all my girlies, but Emily is just so freaking weird. I gave her a Velossum because, I don't know, it just fit her weird vibes, and Aromatisse. And then I also gave her a Sableye because she likes gems. Like, all of her favorite items are like the gems. So Sableye, obviously, is like the gem Pokemon, so I gave her that. I also gave her an Oricorio because in the game she has like her own bird, and Oricorio was like the closest looking to her bird. So yeah, went with Oricorio for that. I gave her a Wooloo because she likes to sew, so she can like make fabric out of the Wooloo's wool to like do more sewing. And then I gave her a Sylveon just because it's quirky like her, and I just thought it would fit. Next up is Maru, and honestly I'm kind of proud of the team I came up with for her because she's like into science, and she's our STEM girl, you know, our STEM girl. I gave her an Eevee so she can like pick what it evolves into because, you know, evolution. And then I also gave her a Solosis because it looks like a cell splitting while it evolves. I also gave her Elgium because Elgium is, you know, an alien, basically. a Clink because it's just gears, and she's like into making machines, I think. I think that's like more so what she's into. So I gave her a Clink. I gave her Golette because it like is science, but like ancient science. They're like based on ancient technology. So I just thought that that was really fitting. And then a Voltorb because she needs some kind of electric Pokemon. And I just thought that was like a good one to give her. It's very basic, you know, but like it's like an inanimate object instead of like a real animal kind of Pokemon, you know? So I just thought that was like more fitting for her. Last but not least, we have our sweet, sweet Penny. I gave her a Deerling and a Flaffy just to like, you know, just nice girl vibes. And then I also gave her a Badoo, a Mime Jr., a Cleffa, and a Pichu because she works like as a babysitter or a nanny teacher thing for Jas and Vincent, and so I just wanted to give her a bunch of baby Pokemon because I just thought that that would be fitting for her, as that's what she does every single day. I just thought maybe she'd like that. So those are all the teams that I came up with for the Stardew Valley bachelors and bachelorettes. Maybe in the future I can do it for the other characters that I did not include on this list. I really wanted to do Krobus, but he's like a creature himself, so I didn't know if that was like weird to do, but if you want to know his team, I can do it next time, if there is a next time. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!